I am a rational person. It is a declaration we all make. We navigate our days assuming logic, reason, and intellect steer our choices. Brain research reveals a different reality. The neural pathways inside our heads show that emotion actually dictates our actions. Reason usually arrives late to the process, serving merely to explain or justify a decision that has already been made. Even language is entirely secondary to this emotional hardware. We navigate a highly complex 21st century society using a biological survival script written millions of years ago. Throughout evolutionary history, pleasure was never intended for entertainment. It functioned as a strict biological compass, designed specifically to reward behaviors that keep a species alive, like eating and reproduction. A snake, lacking a complex cortex, does not pause to intellectually plan its dietary needs. It consumes a meal purely because the physical act of eating triggers a neurological reward. Our primitive subcortex operates the exact same way, but it lacks a stop button. It cannot distinguish between a natural survival reward and modern artificial superstimuli. It only registers that a pursuit feels good and demands that the experience be repeated. In 2002, an Israeli bank employee embezzled $65 million. She knew the consequences, but the sheer thrill of gambling had hijacked her brain's reward center. The possibility of financial payout stimulated her subcortex so intensely that it completely overrode her rational brain. Cases of extreme chronic addiction are not a failure of intellect or willpower. They are the result of a highly efficient, ancient survival mechanism executing its exact programming in the wrong environment. The second core directive running in our heads is fear. This is the brain's hypervigilant alarm system, built specifically to manage immediate existential threats. Deep within the subcortex lies the amygdala. Every external stimulus reaches the brain as an electrical message, and the fastest path routes directly here. The amygdala assesses danger milliseconds before the rational cortex even understands what is happening. Once the amygdala detects a threat, it instantly sends an electrical message to the hypothalamus, rapidly preparing the body for conflict. Its behavioral branch automatically deploys one of three strategies: commanding the body to fight the threat, flee the danger, or freeze. An early human ancestor hunting on the savanna relied entirely on this system. Upon spotting a wild boar, his amygdala fired, flooding his body with survival hormones. He fled the predator, survived, and his brain quickly returned to a state of calm once he was safe. This automatic hormone-fueled reaction evolved as the perfect biological defense mechanism. It kept humans alive, provided the threat was temporary and purely physical. Compare that prehistoric hunter to Luca, a modern software programmer. During a morning meeting, Luca's manager casually mentions a vague rumor about future corporate layoffs. The primitive brain code cannot process abstract concepts like intermediate states or future economic risk. Luca's subcortex registers the corporate rumor with the exact same biological alarm as a charging predator. The hypothalamus responds by secreting stress hormones, specifically cortisol. This chemical is designed to fuel muscles for a short, violent burst of physical power to escape immediate danger. This animated chart compares the ancient biological baseline with the modern one. For the hunter, the threat quickly passed, allowing a sharp cortisol spike to rapidly drop back to zero. For Luca, the threat is an ongoing rumor about the economy. The danger never physically leaves the room, meaning the biological alarm never shuts off, creating a jagged, perpetually elevated plateau of cortisol flooding his system for weeks. Over time, chronic exposure to these unreleased survival hormones transforms a defense mechanism into a slow-acting poison. This continuous chemical stress actively damages biological systems, directly driving modern epidemics like heart disease, diabetes, and immune dysfunction. We live our modern lives carrying hardware that actively misinterprets our daily reality and harms our physical bodies. It raises an obvious question: are we entirely trapped by our own biology? The solution lies in neuroplasticity. The primitive subcortex operates automatically, but our advanced cortex possesses the flexibility to step in and intercept the biological signal. Luca can use his rational cortex to consciously reevaluate the threat of a layoff. By actively focusing on his highly transferable programming skills and his intermediate financial safety, he sends a new message down the slower neural pathway, manually signaling his amygdala to stand down. Achieving this requires deep, active motivation, Merely wishing to be calm cannot rewrite a biological reflex. People must actively train their emotional intelligence to accurately gauge the actual reality of a threat, scaling their internal response to fit the situation. We cannot delete millions of years of survival programming, but by letting go of the illusion that we are purely logical creatures, we can learn to manage our biology. We have the ability to demote emotion from the unquestioned dictator of our choices, training it to become a collaborative co-star.